Hi there, and hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Deconstruction Junction podcast, sponsored by Love and Action Network. I'm Dr. Flo. I am a global encourager that lifts the dreams of folks through mentorship and peer support and quirky live streams and beyond. I hope for everyone that is joining today and for my clients and even strangers that I do not know that you would be in your happiness, in your healthiness, and in your freedom. And our conversations today are going to be unpacking what we're seeing in our world right now in the news, perhaps in our community, perhaps in our homes, saying the quiet part out loud. And of course, every week I'm joined by the amazingly talented and brilliant mind that is Tara Priolo. You can check her out at Tara Priolo Studio, but I'm sure that she will tell you more about that in her fancy introduction while I share out the space today.
I actually got a notification earlier that the renewal for TaraPrioloStudio.com is next week. Because I have multiple domains, y'all, uh, that I pay for and then write off. Anyway, what you need to know is that I am Tara Priolo Studio on all platforms that matter. And I make the intangible tangible, and yeah. Forgot my intro. But anyway, I saw, sorry, this, I'm looking outside because there's snow melting and I'm hearing it. And there was this video that was like, I'm really sad that we don't talk about climate change anymore. And I was just like, true that though. Like yesterday it was literally 0 degrees and today it's 45. But nobody wants to have that conversation. So it's good. Anyway, if you are a person that wants to come chitter chat with us, about really anything, Deconstruction Junction is kind of your free for all, free spot, you know, pass go. You're welcome to apply. There is actually an intake form at the website, lovedandlovable.bio.link. It's all the way at the bottom. Scroll, and you are welcome to apply to have a conversation with us on this podcast or another type of podcast, or maybe even your own podcast that we can help facilitate. And Dr. Flo can, help you do the admin and things like that for it. So we look forward to hearing from you, should you choose to.
The biggest thing is that I refuse to leave this life not being fully expressed. We often talk with one of our Adopt a Black artist participants, Sky Boogie, exclusively Sky, on Instagram, about wanting to leave here, and by here we're talking about the planet, fully poured out, having nothing left in our rice bowl, having no juice left in our fruit. I think we owe it to ourselves as humans to exhaust every opportunity to be fully in our creativity. And I'm teaching these days that I don't care what you do as a human, you are a creative. You're creatively navigating the challenges of life. You're creatively navigating raising your families, raising your spouses, supporting your people, building your dreams. That is a creative act. And I have really positioned myself, and I'm continuing to position myself as a champion for creative expression. You deserve to get those feelings out. If you want to go, we've had a bit of that this morning. Loved and Lovable. If you want to go onto the grocery store aisle of life where the cereal is and throw yourself in the floor like a toddler and scream in front of the Cocoa Puffs, do it. Do it. Let that frustration out. Be expressed. Make them hear you. Say what you got to say in the world unapologetically, because it's all creating this environment of, oh, I can hear the need. I can see the need. I want to help the need. And so, once again, if you are out there and you're looking for support for your dreams and you want to express those needs that you have to the world, we are here to do it. And we're going to express ourselves today by talking through some talking points that are important to us. We got to do this in under an hour because Tara is in demand, baby. So she gets the first slide.
My husband just got home. I don't know if the dog. Can y'all hear the dog? Okay. I don't know how loud we gonna get. Hold on. Mayhaps go to Threads. Go out to Threads, Mayhaps, and I will. We'll come back to this. Apologies.
And we're back.
Apologies. You know, I live in a noisy house. So I combined these two topics because there is a lot to share and there is a lot going on. However, I don't necessarily, and this, we've been exploring this for weeks, but I don't necessarily think that spending the time to get all of the ins and outs and all of the, all of the strategy behind what's happening and all of that, I'm not sure that it serves us. So I'm just going to do a very surface level moment. And because like, if we're concentrating, and this is a debate, it's a debate. If we really want to open it up, like we've spent years, we meaning activists and Black folk, telling people to go get educated, but then we get mad at them for not doing the work. And like, yes, both can happen at the same time. And also, like, if we go, if we go too far one way, it's hard to do the other thing. So I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet and brief. So I got a few threads on the next slide, and I will make my screen big so I can read them. They're still so small. Okay. So this was from yesterday. I saw this thread and it's about ICE. People are still dying in ICE custody. People are still being starved in ICE custody. People are still being murdered in ICE custody. People are still being raped in ICE custody. I probably should have said graped for the YouTube audience, but oh well. And then also this was 18 hours ago, yesterday in Minneapolis. ICE was reportedly seen kidnapping someone from a bus stop and placing a black bag over their head. The incident occurred on March 17th, 2026, which was yesterday, St. Patrick's Day. And then I will also just share that I have seen a couple videos pop up from Memphis having a pretty high concentration of ICE. I saw an abduction story in Colorado, and then I also saw some things out of Vermont, which I think we talked about a little bit last week. But that's kind of what's going on with ICE. They're spread out, but they're still doing the same old stuff. I think I shared into the Deconstruction chat on Instagram, which if you all are interested, you're more than welcome to join, where we share links as we find them. Excuse me, y'all. Anyway, there was a video from Miss Rachel talking about a little kid in the Dilley Detention Center who like had not been able to go to the bathroom in days, and an enema wasn't even helping. And like, it's just bad. Like there's a bunch of malnutrition. It's bad. It's concentration camps. It's bad. Okay. Also, and this has been talked about for about a couple months, but I'll just read this. Cuba's electrical grid has reportedly collapsed, plunging the entire island into darkness, which is what they've warned of for months now, which has put more than 11 million people out of power as the country's fragile energy system appears to have failed. Hospitals, transportation, and communications are being affected, and details are still developing. This was 2 days ago. Essentially, this is happening because the U.S. put in oil embargo, and there's no oil, which is what Cuba's electrical grid runs on. I saw a bunch of posts this morning, and I was gonna bring this if we had more time, and I'll just say it briefly that I saw a bunch of threads this morning about like, oh my gosh, the kids in the NICU are gonna die, and I posted on my own threads that like y'all really selectively care about children. Like you really like you do not care about children until you see like a horror story like this. And if we want liberated ideology all around and we want kids to be safe and protected, we have to be talking about kids' vulnerability and kids' humanity all the time, not just when there's a something like this or something like Dili or something like Palestine or something like Iran. Like kids are used as pawns, and it really bothers me like even more so than the fact that like us normal people, us lowly people that aren't the chess players, that aren't the puppeteers, um, are used as pawns. It really bothers me how much people pretend to care about kids. um, it really drives me banana pancakes every time I see stuff like that, and then I go to a person's page and they haven't ever talked about any other thing, right? They're like, oh, the kids, and it's like they've never talked about kids until the Cuba thing, or they've never talked about kids until Palestine. And I know that parents get touchy, I know they do, and there's this whole debate on TikTok right now about like people having kids and people not having kids. I saw somebody the other day say that those of us that talk about having kids and wanting kids are pro-natalist propagandists, and I was like, we have lost the plot. Like we have truly.
What does that even mean?
It means that because I am having a kid, apparently that means that I am forcing you to have a kid, and that it's anti-feminist. I was like, this is so far reaching that I don't even know what to do with it, so I just didn't send it to the chat. But yes, they said those of us that are okay with using our bodies to have kids are not feminists, and we are pro-natal, pro-baby propagandists. Anyway, that's the report on ICE and Cuba.
Wow, I didn't even know that there were 11 million people in Cuba.
I guess I thought it was like a million. I mean, it makes sense that it's like like a significant sum of people, but I didn't know it was that many.
It's also unfortunate that their lights are off because humans who are world leaders decide that they're not worthy of it. That's just kind of weird.
Right.
The hoarding of the resources and making people suffer to prove a point. I don't enjoy that the U.S. is that kind of imperialist bully.
Bully. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really enjoy that. I want to talk a bit today about change, and um, how much of it's happening. We talked a bit before we came live. I believe, I don't think the cameras were rolling yet, about climate change and how people ignore that, or societal changes like people wanting to have their pronouns valued, um, or how our bodies have changed over the last 7 years because your skin sloughs off and your cells die inside and your organs regenerate, and you're just not the same person listening or watching today that you were 7 years ago. Change is a part of life. And the reason why I brought it up today, I've been talking for a while about this on my live streams. You all are welcome to join me, no longer on TikTok because I've been fired from that establishment for speaking the way that I talk privately. It didn't quite go over too well in the TikTok space, but I am live daily over on Bigo and also on Instagram Live. And I welcome anybody who's happy, healthy, and free to stop by and to chat with us there as we uplift the community. I have been talking in these live stream spaces about my new bifocals and how I acted out in the eyeglass store because they told me, you're getting older, sir, and your prescription is 7 years old, and you may not be able to get the prescription that you had 7 years ago because you are progressing in your life. And they might as well have told me that they were taking my husband hostage and torturing him in the basement somewhere, because I was not happy with them asking me my age and then telling me that my doctor that was going to do the eye exam wasn't even in the building because of this fancy thing that you all invented called telehealth. That someone miles away in a place that they would not tell me was sitting at their desk saying, how's your vision in your right eye? How's your vision in your left eye? Can you see now? Someone's going to come into the room now. Knock, knock, knock. Someone comes into the room, puts a special piece on the device. This is for your bifocal lenses. What do you mean? How does someone miles away, presumably in a foreign country, tell me that I need bifocals to see? I resisted the contact fitting. I resisted the eyeglass fitting. I resisted it all until after a consultation with a human for about an hour, they convinced me that I would be better in my eyesight and in my life if I allowed myself to change. And for me, leading this operation and leading students and leading clients and leading business leaders, you would think that I'd be a person who would be accustomed to change, the change of the acid reflux in my body, the change of my eyeballs with the ocular strain that happens when you get to a certain age. You would think that I'd be a person to say, oh, bifocals, that means that I am progressing in life. Oh, gray hair? Wonderful. No, most of my suffering these days is coming because I don't want to let go of the past. I certainly don't want to stay present in the moment, and I am anticipating a future where I stroke out and fall out in the street because I'm old. I just wanted to talk today about change and how it's happening to me in my body temple and how it's always been happening to me. And in the best moments of my life, I was open to going with it and not pushing against it. And I don't want to be. I went and apologized to all 3 of those beautiful assigned Black at birth women. And I said, real men apologize. So I've come to apologize to you. And both of them went, oh, a man apologizing? Go on. You don't see that every day. And I said, I have to apologize
They
for
had
the
to go
way.
get their own bifocals to see the man apologizing.
I had to go and apologize and tell them, I'm sorry for overreacting and showing my ass in the store. The lady was like, sir, if you please calm down and just sit down, we'll explain it to you. I'll stand. Thank you very much. I don't need to sit. I'll stand. I was defiant in my resistance to my change. And I said, I don't want to be the 80-year-old guy that resists what's happening to me in my life, either in my body or in my community. I got to surrender to the flow. I got to surrender to change. What say you about change, Priolo, before I move to the next slide?
God is change.
God is change. All right,
And the
back
only
to war.
constant is change. The only constant is change, right? That's what that statement really means. Anyway, that's what I will say about it. Yes, we are always changing. Dr. Flo and I this morning, before our lashings to each other, like he said something. He was introducing himself on his live, and I said, "Hi, it's nice to meet you." Right. And we had the moment of like, yeah, we actually are meeting each other every single day. You're meeting your spouse every single day. You're meeting your dog. You're meeting your cat. You're meeting your child. You're meeting, you're meeting, regardless of how close you are to someone, you are meeting them every single day. In fact, you're meeting yourself every single day too, because the only thing that is constant is change. So that is where I would wrap that up. But yes, we are sadly going back to war because
it's profitable.
right, which is why we're doing it.
There are people in Savannah, Georgia, who I've met. I said, "What do you do when you're not at the grocery store in your part-time job?" They said, "My full-time job is making bullets." I said, "Making bullets for who?" They say the U.S. government, and then one of our greatest exports in the United States is bullets and bombs.
Right. Right.
We sell a lot of bullets and bombs to foreign entities and to entities domestically as well.
That was one of my biggest problems with Walking Dead, was that like I know we have stores of ammunition, but they like kept running out of bullets in the show, and I was like, anyway, that's neither here nor there. The next slide is related to the war. I don't actually have that many updates on like the what's happening in Swana, the Middle East, whatever you want to call it. And I don't mean that dismissively. I mean that I think that when we start policing language, like we're still doing the masses work. And it's not a discussion that many people are ready to have, but it's a discussion that I'm seeing like I saw one this morning that someone was like Swana, and then underneath someone was like, because they were like, this is the decolonial term, and someone underneath was like, well, it's actually not decolonial because like we're still calling Africa Africa, and we're still like making a difference between Northern Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa, and making it like making Northern Africa better than Southern. And I was like, you just want to be mad, but B, like nothing. We live in a colonized world. Like we currently we cannot go back in time and uncolonize the colonizer's colonization suit. Like we can't do that yet. Okay, maybe you're Doctor Who, and if you are Doctor Who, please raise your hand. Okay, please raise your hand. But I just like it's just an interesting. It's the phenomenon of policing other people's, and we have done it to each other on this show. So like we are not perfect. Like, and the point is not to be perfect, right? But like I think that we get in the way of change and liberation when we start having the political correctness debate every 5 seconds. Like it does not, like, how is your discussion on whether it's Swana or Middle East help the people in the Middle East? How does it change the bombs falling? How does it put pressure on our government to stop releasing the bombs? It doesn't. It doesn't matter whether our government calls it Swana or Middle East. They are still dropping bombs on it. That's it.
We've also created the conditions where people can be very, very heavy in their thumbs in the policing of other people online. But if you see these people in Target,
Right.
They're scared of everything and everybody.
Right.
How do we get to a space where you all are so big and bold about correcting people and educating people and wanting people to know what you think about them online? When it comes time in the grocery store or in the community events to actually stand up for what is right and to feed the people and to clothe the people and house the people, you all are quiet as fucking church mouths. Keep that energy everywhere.
Right. Right. How many of y'all were loud in Facebook groups in Minnesota, but once it came to getting in the Signal chat and taking RR training so you know what to do? How many of y'all made it over to Signal? How many of y'all went to a Monarcha training? How many of y'all walked out of your house when ICE was on your street?
I know that these people are not who they say they are. In the words of Angie from our network, Halloween is every motherfucking day. And I just like, you got to put up or shut up around here.
Right. So sorry, we're going to speed through this. So this is the kind of the biggest news. Like I said, Iran stands at pretty much the same place it did. People still bombing each other. There was a plane that went down in Iraq. Now there's an advisory for Americans to get out of Iraq. And it's like, how did Iraq even get into this? Because what the hell? Oil prices are still rising, which is going to affect our food prices and all of the prices around the world. And the global economy is like pretty much on the brink of collapse, depending on what happens with the Strait of Hormuz. But yesterday, Joe Kent resigned from being the director of the National Counterterrorism Center because he says he cannot support the war in Iran. And this is a quote of his: Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it is clear that we started this war due to the pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. So pretty damning statement of what we already knew happened. Yeah, so that's that. And I guess I'll just say that, like, this is the reason I brought this, is because this is it might seem like nothing to the outside eye, but like, this guy was high in the government. And I'm just like, what caused you to leave now when there have been horrible things that have been happening and allowed to happen that I'm presuming dealt with his department over the last however many years he was in government. But it is also like, there is a degradation of this Trump wall that gets put up of like his protection, and people lying for him, and just this guy's telling the truth. So that's all.
I got fired from Broadway because I alleged that they were not special people who were more special than everybody else. So I'm with Joe. Community. I don't die on hills, but I will champion ideas till the end.
Are you going to be buried on Everest with me, though?
No, I think that I want to be scattered in one place and turned into a tree.
Okay. Trees don't really grow that high. So.
As Everest?
Right, they don't grow on Everest. Like, they grow on the low part of Everest, but not on the tippity top.
No, I never wanted to be on Everest. There's poop and dead bodies on Everest.
There are dead bodies. Yeah, lots
and
of
lots of human poop that no one's come to collect. Frozen pockets of human poop. So while I will at that point be the chemical or organic equivalent of human poop, the ultimate poop, I probably don't want to be there. No. But I will champion the idea that for those of you who are trying to build ideas and trying to build your businesses, now would be a great time to get into this thing that we've gotten away from for the last 20 years, and that is community. We are tribal, and that can often hurt us as it relates to the opinions and the negative feedback and the taunting and the bullying that can happen within a community. And so I understand why we have a bitter taste in our mouths around community. And for some people, community is a 4-letter word. That being said, having people around you that are attuned to your vibe and frequency, who want to see you win and want to see your expression come through and want to see your goods and services move to support your actual living, very, very important. And shameless plug for Love City Arts Creative Services Group. If you are out there and you need someone to help you build your community where you're the leader, I'm not talking about you coming under Love and Action Network or under Love City Arts and being part of what we're doing and then creating some kind of jealous competitive vibe because you think that everything that you're doing here is to make Dr. Flo look good. Bitch, Dr. Flo looked good when he walked in the door. I'm talking about building your community and your followers and your fans who want to be in concert with what you are doing in your life. And I think that a lot of us have been fucked over by family, betrayed by friends. I had one yesterday who did not like what I said to her online, and she said, friendship over. Bye, homie, and just completely blocked me and walked out. I just was online a few seconds ago and realized that someone's mother, who I thought loved me, has blocked me on social media, did not want to see my existence. I understand why walking into community or deciding to start community again, this is probably like the 15th or 15,000th time that I have relaunched Love and Action Network. Some of you will know back in 2009, it was called Freedom to Love. And in the earliest YouTube videos, I was just standing there in the house that my ex-husband and I shared, saying, I'm looking for seekers and dreamers like me and you, and I just reinvent and reinvent and reinvent, and then be harmed by the community and uplifted by the community. All of these feelings are very, very complex. And I promise you, it's going to be easier to do if you have people who love and adore you in your corner. Will it be spicy? Will it feel like a lashing, as Tara called it today? Because the truth or someone saying things that you don't believe about yourself, which is not the truth, a perceived lie to you, or something that you don't feel, or something that's just not real about you, can feel stingy and ouchy and awful. I think that it still feels better than walking through life in isolation and loneliness, which is one of the biggest epidemics and pandemics truly on the planet. People feeling isolated, lonely, and like nobody gets what they're going through, even though we're all having a unique experience, but a collective experience here together. And so if you're out there and you're one of those lone wolves or black sheep, and you're like, I'm done with community because it never works out for me, I want to encourage you to try community again. It may not be Love and Action Network. Some people don't like my personality, and they certainly can't stand my sass. So the community may not be here for you, but you owe it to yourself to not feel isolated or alone in this life. Yes, the ancestors are with you, but who do you call when your husband gets on your nerves? I call Tara.
I message Flo. I very rarely met, or my mom. But more so Flo. Flo gets a lot of the husband complaints. Sometimes about herself as the work husband.
Right. Exactly. Did the shelf get back up?
I think so. I don't know. Listen, the upper shelf got back up because the stuff is not on the table anymore. Did the lower shelf come back to life?
How many licks does it take to get to the center of the Tootsie Pop? What say you about the ups and downs of being a community? It's not sunshine and rainbows, even in Love and Action every day.
Not every day.
What keeps you aligned and returning to the scene of love?
I mean, I go back to, and we were having this kind of discussion like right before we got on, but like there are things that are true about the human race as a whole. One of those things is that we are social. Like we are like orcas and dolphins, and we exist to be in pods, right? And I think part of one of the deepest things that all of these things that we hold responsible, right? Like the systemic things that we talk about, one of the deepest things is that it has removed the pod, the social aspect of living, right? Like we all live in our own apartments or our own houses. Like we don't have communal living. like we do in colleges. You know, it's like one of the few places that you can get it. We don't have community get-togethers. We don't have we don't have these places because all of the things around us are telling us to pull up our bootstraps, or that your family is your community, or like something like that. And I just, like, as much as I rail against it because I'm really not that much of a social person, I'm definitely more of an introvert than most of the people that we encounter. Or many, I shouldn't say most, many of the people that we encounter. I do also understand that, like, we must be social. Like, that is literally in our DNA, right? Like, when a child is left alone too long, they seek out a person. Like, they won't just like sit alone by themselves. I know, because I have a toddler that's on top of me all the time. Um, like, ask me what the rate of leaving alone is from my toddler. Circa 30 seconds. Okay? Like, that's all we get. So, I guess, like, as much as I think that community has been propagandized in a sense, that it like community is hierarchy, but I just don't think that's true. I think that true community is leadership that is spread across multiple people, and anyone is a leader in the space, and anyone is a student in the space. We used to talk about that a lot on Clubhouse, and lots of people railed against it, right? Like, either they wanted to be the teacher or they just wanted to be the student, and like there was no like acceptance that, like, Dr. Flo and I are not necessarily wanting to teach you all the time. We're not, like, we are here to glean from you and get inspiration from you just as much as you are here to get inspiration from us. And yeah, so I go back to, like, and you asked this question in the live last night, and have asked it over the last year, in your change and in your growth of, like, why do we continue to hate our humanity? And one of the ways that we hate our humanity is by denying ourselves community. It's one of the biggest ways that we deny ourselves humanity, is to force ourselves inside and force ourselves in the house and force ourselves away from people, right? And so, yeah, I just, that's why I continue to stick my neck out in my own way, because I know that my humanity in its deepest sense is wired to be a social human, you know? Yeah. Okay. This is an eye roll moment. Y'all know the last couple weeks I've brought an eye roll. Listen, and you can go to the next slide, because I'm only going to talk about two people, because I didn't watch the Oscars. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Anyway, congratulations to Sinners, which did not win Best Picture. But that's okay. It's all right. But congratulations to Michael B. Jordan for that movie. He won the Best Actor. And I do believe that Ryan Coogler won for screen direction or something like that. But anyway, I also put a picture up of him because his hair was rad. He had a guitar and a treble clef in his hair. And I thought that was really cool. And there's been a whole bunch of discussions happening around Black excellence and who's Black and who's not, and white presenting people. And yeah, so, like, and I also just think, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago in terms of, like, the political spectrum. It's like, do we actually want to put Black people in these positions when, like what does it change? Back to the word change, right? What does it change? It changes virtually nothing, because the system is still the same. And so, like, are we going to play outside the system, or are we going to keep reinforcing the system, or keep trying to beat down the door, to get recognition that if we healed ourselves, we wouldn't need from these white dominated institutions, that are also feeding into some really sick things. Like, y'all can go down the conspiracy rabbit holes, but the Epstein files are filled with some of your favorite Hollywood celebs. So,
Yeah, I was appreciative that Michael B. Jordan won the award because his rate is going to go up for how much that he is able to command for his next movies. Waiting for assigned white at birth people to validate us in the industry is a game that I do not like to play because the Lord giveth and the Lord can take away. It's really annoying that once we start expecting external validation from anyone, but especially the people who were assigned white at birth, we then give them the power to pull it from us, which is tied into our self-esteem and self-worth and so many things. I remember when I was online back when Trump was ascending into power the first time and black men and black women were being terrorized domestically all across the country. And I remember coming out very, very bold in my pro-black stance and this idea that everybody was valid and black lives mattered. Yes, of course, all lives mattered, but the black ones needed the attention because they were being devalued. And it was really rough having the validation and approval of our paler counterparts be taken from me. I remember feeling the hole or the absence of assigned white at birth people's validation. We never needed it.
and you don't need black people's approval either. And that one was for myself.
Get
Okay,
over
anyway.
it. Give it to yourself. I just put this slide in because I just need the lying to stop. We touched on it earlier. I need people to stop lying to themselves. I need people to stop lying to the community. I need people to stop lying online. I need people who are lying about their care of children to actually take care of children. I need people who care about people who are darker in skin tone to actually do that. I need us to get some universal basic health care and some universal basic income. I need us to do some third spaces community events that actually impact the community and lift creative expression and liberation. I need us to be who if God is good all the time and all the time God is good, then I need it to actually show up at the gas pump and the food kitchens. And I needed to pay for some housing. And I needed to sponsor Dr. Phil and the Love Experience. If God is truly good all the time, then Poppy Water and I could not possibly be demonic and be cursing you. When I said to you that I was going to send you into the sunken place, girl, I was talking about putting you into the general box of Instagram on mute where you can't talk to me, bitch. But if your God was so great, he wouldn't be worrying about the good witches, Poppy and Flo. I need you to stop lying. I need you to stop lying about how strong your faith is. When the first time the table shakes outside of your favor, you're all over the place. Yes, we are all human. Yes, we all have challenges. Yes, we all have fear. Yes, we all have self-doubt. But I need y'all to stop lying because, like I said this morning on my Instagram live, you have to name a thing to heal a thing. And some of the lies we tell are lies of omission. I'm that kind of man myself. I may not lie to you directly, but I'll certainly just not say anything. These lies of omission are also not allowing us to truly heal what's going on. We have all of the resource and all the abundance to fix everything and every problem that we can imagine and that we can see right now. We've got tools like AI and advanced technologies that can help us map it all. We need to be who we say we are and to stop lying as a collective so that we don't suffer as much. What say you, Priolo, about the lies? I'm sick of it.
I am also sick of it. I'm really sick. I'm just coming for people based on that. Listen, y'all. Based on the Oscars conversation, some of the Oscars conversation, and based on the conversation that happened last night, some of y'all are way, and y'all will say you're not, but some of y'all are real fucking scared of biracial people. And I'm telling you, we are not the bad witches that you people think we are. We are just trying to live our fucking lives. Okay? And I'm tired. I'm tired, Hilly. I'm tired of you lying about the fact that we're white passing. Learn your own definitions, right? Anyway, I'm also tired. I'm tired of y'all lying about your care of kids. I'm tired of y'all lying about and I point this one out, and Dr. Flo gonna roll his eyes. Y'all just watch. Angie watching the eye roll, because check it is gonna come. I'm tired of y'all lying on yourselves that you cannot do something. I deal with this in my studio every day. Okay, when one of my kiddos says to me, Tara, I cannot do this, and I say, you cannot do it yet. Y'all see the eye roll? Did you catch it? Did you catch it, Angie? Angie, did you see it in the bifocals? I'm tired. I am tired. The biggest lie that I am tired of is that we cannot remain in community and disagree at the same time. That is a lie fed to you by people that want to feed off of your negative energy. They want you to be in your negative energy because they are able to capitalize on that. And I mean literally capitalize monetarily. Right? And that is the biggest lie. We can be in community together as long as we are agreeing that we are not going to harm each other, but it does not mean that we are going to agree 100% of the time. That is a lie. And that expectation of community is why y'all don't have it. All right. So that's my truth telling of the day. Excuse me.
My God, on today. We got only a few minutes left in the pod, y'all. I'm going to head on over to Threads and share the tab. We're going to go to the casino of the internet right now and look at what some of the people are saying. Let's see what's trending now. Afro Man sued over raid videos. 7 Ohio deputies are suing Afro Man for using raid footage in his music videos. Spider-Man debuts a new trailer. Brown on creators versus journalists. Brown addressed journalists' concerns over red carpet access for creators. I guess that's Tabitha. Huerta accuses Chavez of sexual assault. They said that the 95-year-old labor icon accused the late Cesar Chavez of sexual assault from the 1960s. I want the justice for the women, and I wonder why bring it up now. That's what, when I saw the article this morning, I was like, I think that Cesar Chavez, if I'm not mistaken, and I try not to put people in the ground too soon. Cesar Chavez, who was an American labor leader and civil rights activist, he died in 1993. And while I don't like sexual abuse in any way as a person who was sexually abused in my life, while I don't enjoy hearing this news, I think that it would be more beneficial to actually prosecute and root out the sexual abuse that we have in our families in 2026. While it's a pearl clutch, and I want justice for all victims and people who are harmed, it is a very interesting thing to talk about the sexual abuses of someone who's dead, given that we have abusers in power right now sitting at the White House carrying on as if nothing is happening. More lies. And Wonderland spring issue sells out. Apparently, that biracial hottie Hudson Williams is on the cover. And people are loving it. And even though it's trending, I'm not seeing any of the photos of him in the thread. So someone's getting fired over there. If we go to the main page, someone says, fuck fitting into a community, build your fucking own. Another person says, write the music only you can write. The world has enough imitations. It needs your original voice. And someone who is a hater of human expression, grow with Colby. Colby is saying, I cannot stress this enough. You need hobbies that don't involve screens. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, Colby. You're not the boss of me. Maybe being on camera and expressing myself and sharing my present moment with the world is something that brings me the most joy. You can go and sit in the park and watch the squirrels eat their nuts without your phone. Live and let live. There's a lot of people telling other people how to regulate their nervous systems or what's best for them to do. We're not in each other's bodies. We don't wear each other's skin. And so you can't really tell me what feels great because we're not the same. I spend a lot of time on live streams. Since quitting all of the drugs that I did, it has become a fueling presence and energy for me. Tara does not want to be on camera as much as I am. For me to force her into that environment, and I know that some of my students and clients are like, well, then why are you asking us to go live so much? And why are you asking us to do our reels so much? And why are you asking us to do these things? I want you visible in all the ways that make you happy and attract the kinds of attention that you say that you want. But life is not a one size fit all kind of experiment, and Colby can shove it. We're asking every week in our network for ceasefire in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirit, in our communities. If there's any place in your heart or in the world where you can drop your munitions and drop your weapons of warfare, your weapons of mass destruction inside and outside, we are calling for that out loud. A lot of people get blacklisted and not called back to opportunity because they're saying ceasefire now because evil people such as Zionists and domestic terrorism by all kinds of identities is happening, and no one will say it needs to stop. Tara and I have lost friends and opportunities because we have decided to say ceasefire now. It is something that I think that good-hearted people and people who mean well for the world should be uplifting in whatever way feels comfortable to them. We have a platform and a podcast and hundreds of people listening to us, and so we say it boldly in front of them, hopefully with the expectation that it would give them the courage to do so themselves.
We still have the thread screen up, by the way.
Oh, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I'm moving on through the slide deck. Our programs are plentiful here. Adopt a Black Artist is one of our flagship programs right now. It's not that we care about Black artists more than the assigned white at birth artist. It's just that Black artists have been hypnotized into not believing in themselves and not believing that they have access to the resources of some of our white counterparts. We disrupt that in our program by showing up 24/7 unless we are having great sex, great food, great adventures, and great rest to make sure that people feel supported and have the tangibles that they need and the conversations they need to lift. If you see a group of people not being helped as much as others, you go and help them. It's the right thing to do. And when I was a young Black artist in Brooklyn struggling to decide between support services and food and housing. I wish that people like us would have come to have those conversations and offer those services as well. So we're paying it forward in the world through Adopt a Black Artist program. If you're out there and you really need someone to champion you and to stand on your side as you create, tap in. It's sliding scale and sometimes free if you're willing to do a few things for us to help us grow the network. Daily peer support is happening now on Instagram Live and Bigo Live. If you're out there in the community and you're listening and you're like, well, here we go again, you need to have Instagram and Bigo on your phone because that's where we're going to be gathering and having community conversations. That's where daily peer support, my morning pours and my PM pours, that's where they happen now over on Instagram and Bigo. I was fired from TikTok for being naughty. Speaking also to what we talked about with the Black artist, for any creative and business owner in the world, if you need admin and support services, you got something in your life that you've been putting off, you don't want to do it, but you want to throw a couple dollars at me to do it for you to help you elevate your business. Yes. You got 5 phones. Put Bigo on one of them. Yes, ma'am. You heard it here first. You got
and make
5
sure you're in
phones.
the Instagram broadcast channels, Angie.
You got 5,000 phones. Put Bigo on 2 of them. You got 5 phones.
Angie, you came in and got your lashings too.
She keeps saying lashing. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm not speaking the truth. There's no such thing as a capital T truth. We don't have a truth or a authority over people's lives. I am speaking what I perceive, and then that opens the door to a larger conversation about what's really going on. Everything that I've said to Tara today online, and it's been a lot, it wasn't recorded this time. Everything that I've said has been a reflection of what I perceive, and then we're going to sift through it to just find what her happy, healthy, and free looks like. But Angie, yes, download Bigo, log in, and be ready to meet us online for daily ongoing chats. There are a couple newsletters that are floating and Google group lists that are floating. Would love to have you on them if you're interested. If you don't check email, don't join my list. It's a waste of my time. I'm also hiring for Dr. Flo and the Love Experience, and that's going to bring people into a wonderful show and creative expression experience. And I got to go quickly, Tara,
TPS Community Commons on WhatsApp. I'm pulling people in there. If you're going to engage, come see me. I Dream a World album is out at tarapriolo.com. Nope, tarapriolo.bandcamp.com. I Dream a World archive project is coming, and I just have to make the reel. So that is what I'm doing. You can follow along. Again, Tara Priolo Studio on all platforms.
We have had a blast today sharing with you all as we go on to other parts of our lives. On behalf of Tara Priolo Studio on all platforms and Ask Dr. Flo on all platforms, including Bigo, Angie, we invite the whole community to stay in your power, stay in your joy, stay loved and lovable, and we will see you soon around our fabulous network. Have a great day. You're loved.